Namaste. This video is going to be on karma, soul recycling, and how to beat the system. Is there a way of beating the system which automatically draws your soul back time and time again to the third density realm? And the answer is yes, there is. It's a 3-part system, and in many ways 2 of these parts are the same thing. The first is non-dualism. If you can become non-dual in your outlook, non-dual in your perspective, your ways of seeing things, then this will go a great distance to enabling you to reach the level of consciousness where you don't even need to keep coming back into third density. You don't need to keep coming back and reincarnating as a human being or any other being on any other planet in the third density. The second thing is Christ consciousness, what is commonly referenced, commonly termed as Christ consciousness, Buddhic consciousness. It's the same thing, right? The third is all-encompassing, unconditional, and heartfelt forgiveness. What binds you, what ties you, what draws you back, your soul energy back, time and lifetime after lifetime again, back to third density earth realm, is unfinished business, is when either you haven't forgiven yourself about something that you believe in your perception was wrong, was not the best thing to do, was hurtful against another self. Now, this goes both ways though. It's okay you've forgiven yourself. Now you'll find that forgiving yourself is the most difficult one to forgive. You will probably, no doubt, be able to forgive somebody who did terrible things to you much easier than you can forgive yourself, and that's for a reason. We are our own worst judges. Okay? The source, God, the one, does not judge any of us, ever. But our conscience is the one that does the judging. Your own consciousness, your own conscious, is what deems whether you have done a perceivedly right or wrong action. Okay, a positive or a negative, a useful or a useless action against yourself or against another self. Right? Don't forget, we're all one. Christ consciousness is the knowing, the all-encompassing awareness, the conscious awareness that we are all one. The law of divine oneness states that we are all one. All individualized aspects are of the same one source. So each other human is another self. We are all part of the one family of the source. So what you do to another, you do to yourself. Now, it's okay you've forgiven yourself, but if somebody else, let's say an ex-partner, ex-girlfriend, ex-boyfriend, ex-wife, ex-husband, or even a friend, whoever, holds something against you and hasn't not found it in their heart to forgive you, then you are karmically bound to that soul. And this ends up being what traps people into these repeated reincarnations, in these endless loops, these endless cycles. Because then you get back to the spirit realm and the other soul says, well, I still haven't forgiven you for X, Y, and Z, so let's reincarnate back, and this time you play me and I'll play you, and we'll see if we can get things resolved this time around, right? And Dolores Cannon's work really encompasses all of this beautifully. When you have Christ consciousness, you automatically forgive everybody and yourself, knowing that no one truly has done anything wrong, knowing that forgiveness is a given, knowing that there is nothing really to forgive, and that we are all just God experiencing itself in many individualized aspects or forms, but ultimately having the Christ conscious knowing that we are all indeed one. Non-dualism is kind of the same thing. It's knowing that we are neither the yin nor the yang, or I should say that we are both the yin and the yang. We are both the masculine and the feminine. We are both the divine positive and the divine negative within manifest creation, right? So when you are divine masculine, divine feminine, how can you be sexist? When you are every single race, then how can you be racist? When you know that you are a part of every other soul, then how can you be prejudiced? Or how can you hate or dislike? Or how can you be in a state of unforgiveness for anybody? When you know that all others are an aspect of you, and you are an aspect of all other selves. So non-dualism is when, I've used this before, this tattoo on my arm, okay? So instead of being the yin or the yang and things being right or wrong, know that the outside circle encompassing the whole of this yin-yang pattern is who you truly are. You are all of the above within manifest creation. You are the dark and the light. You are the masculine and the feminine. You are the yin and the yang. So if you are all of these things, if you are all beings, if you are an aspect of the one source, and there is only really one thing going on in trillions and trillions of different ways, then how can you possibly hold anything against another self? You'll find that when you have gained Christ consciousness, you simply cannot hate or dislike another self. And you, even if you dislike another self, then you have to really wonder what that means, because that other self is reflecting as a mirror something within you that you don't like about yourself. This goes very deep, and this level of consciousness can take lifetime, hundreds, thousands of lifetimes to achieve. When you reach this state of awareness, when the vast majority of us human beings reach this level of consciousness, the law of karma will have absolutely, well, I'm not going to say it will have no effect on us, because it still is really essentially in effect. Even in fourth and fifth and sixth density, the law of karma still exists, but you will be able to negate the law of karma much more easily, and you will automatically forgive all other selves. Which, now, when we can all forgive each other in the blink of an eye, when we all see each other as the one, the law of karma just simply will not have a grip on us, nowhere near as much as now. We're reaching the age, we're in the age now, the age of Aquarius. This is where the water bearer tips out the water and washes away all the dirt, all the debris that was blinding our eyes. It's the time of the apocalypse, the time of revelations, the time of revealing, the time of making all things to be seen. making all things visible. And along with this comes some great realizations of some very dark acts that collectively humanity have been a part of for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. We're in a time of reckoning, and a time of reckoning is a time of knowing oneself and knowing the collective consciousness. And then once we know the collective consciousness, we go through a collective dark night of the soul, which has already begun. That begun in 2020. This will go on for an unknown period of time until we reach a level of collective conscious awareness where we realize that we are above the third density illusion of separation, of division, of hatred, of unforgiveness. We're in the time of ascension. We are in the time of the Christ conscious awakening within the human collective field. Okay, I had to channel most of that because I just press record and I don't sleep much, and my human self barely functions most days, and so I have to channel this. Okay, I'm going to leave you there. One love. Namaste.